Hey, what's going on, Vapepreneurs? I'm going to go over a question that we get so often at VapeMentors: how to pick a brick and mortar location. My name is Jesse Plows, Chief Technology Mentor at VapeMentors, and this is the exact process that we would use to help you with your specific situation. Every situation is different, obviously, but this is going to serve as a really good starting point for you when you are deciding on what exactly is the best location for your specific brick and mortar store. These are some of the market research techniques that we use, some of the resources that we go and get information from to make an informed decision about how to pick the location that's best for you. So I'm going to actually start with an interesting article that I found at this website NATSO, which is actually a national association for truck stop owners. And they have an interest in e-cigarettes, clearly, and this was written by Lucas McDonough, who he himself owns a cigarette in the e-cigarette wholesaling company, and so he sells to these truck stop owners, and so he's got a vested interest in these numbers as well. And a lot of these numbers are not surprising. 99% of e-cig users are previous and current tobacco users. I think we all kind of know that. 79% of e-cig users are repeat buyers. 70% of e-cig users were looking for an alternative to tobacco before they found e-cigarettes. And 49% of e-cig users purchased their first e-cigarette online due to the lack of saturation in the market. So that actually is interesting because he's saying if there were more options locally, they wouldn't have bought online. The figure that I find really interesting, though, is that he pulls this number. He says 60% of e-cigarette users are female, and only 39% are male. That's an interesting number. And I also went and I found this other fact that kind of supports that, or sort of a complementary fact that supports this idea that you've got a lot of women that are using e-cigarettes, and you've got a lot of smokers that want to quit, and if they knew about e-cigarettes, well, they probably would quit based on the numbers, knowing that 70% of them used to be smokers and they were looking for alternatives. So this is an interesting number where 33, 32, 30, and 28% of women with an Asian heritage smoke tobacco. So that's interesting because then now you've got an even more concentrated market to go after. Based on these numbers, it wouldn't be a bad strategy to go after Asian women of Asian heritage that smoke tobacco for your vape store, and that could be a strong market for you. I'm not suggesting that. You have to make sure it's right for you, but this is to give you an idea of how you should start going about picking the store that's right for you. Because if you live in an area that doesn't really have a strong Asian heritage, then this strategy may not work for you. But these are some of the resources and sort of thought processes that we go through when picking a store. But really, the first place you need to look is I'm sure you have an idea of, let's say, where you want to start your first vape store, and it's probably going to be near your hometown because that's where you're familiar with, and that's where all your resources are, and it's a good strategy. So the first step is knowing, where are the other vape stores in your area. We get this concern a lot. Oh, well, there's already so many vape stores in my area. Are we worried about that? It's a consideration you should make, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of McDonald's too. There's a lot of Taco Bells. They're all competing for the same space, and what you can do as a small business owner is do your best to avoid direct competition by picking a location that is underserved, because you're dealing with a retail location. You're dealing with foot traffic, walk-ins, person-to-person sort of business. So you really want to make sure that you're in an area that doesn't have too many vape shops, because you're right, that would affect your foot traffic. So the first place we go is with our friends at Vape Finds. We're close friends with the owner. It's a great company. They have compiled a huge database of different vape stores around the country, and I'm sure they have information in your hometown. And so that's kind of the first place we go to see what the market looks like in our particular area. And so I went ahead and I did a use case example with my hometown, which is Salt Lake City, Utah. So the question we're asking is, where would I open a store if I was going to open a store in Salt Lake or in the surrounding areas? And I actually found a pretty good spot. If you're in Salt Lake, I would seriously consider this area. So first thing I did was I just typed in my zip code here, and I pulled in the zip code I typed in, by the way, was 84121, and I sort of got a lot of results. There's vape shops all over, which is a healthy sign, which means people are vaping. It's a good vaping market. It's actually a pretty nice market. But you'll notice, as I did, there's a huge gap right here. I mean, this is basically Salt Lake. This is basically suburban, rural areas. This is a nice area right here. I know this just anecdotally. I used to live here, and look, there's no vape shops in here. I kind of zoomed in on this area and I noticed, wow, there's actually quite a gap in vape shops in this area, and I know this to be a pretty well off area. Um, and even closer, this 33rd South is actually quite a big commercial hub for businesses. So I know this is a good area, just anecdotally, and this is kind of confirming that, wow, there's no vape stores in this area. And I went ahead and I went to Yelp to confirm. Yelp's basically returning the same data. There's no vape stores in this area. I went ahead and went to Google to confirm no vape stores in the area. So I'm liking this area right now. Um, so how do I decide, which is the best place to pick? I mean, I've got this huge area here that I could go down here on 33rd and South Mountain Drive, or I could try to get one here by 2300 East. Um, how do I pick a good spot? Well, what you want to think about is foot traffic. So, what other businesses are around you that are going to create foot traffic without you having to do anything? All right, so good options are restaurants. Good options are banks. Got a Chase Bank right here. Good options are gas stations. Really, really good options are gas stations, because think about it, people are getting gas all the time, day, morning, and night. And so there's going to be an inherent attraction to that area if there's a gas station. McDonald's, same way. You're going to have a traffic spike in the morning for breakfast, traffic spike at the lunch time hour, and traffic spike during the dinner hours. And that goes for McDonald's, that goes for Five Guys, that goes for there's a Subway right here, Taco Bell. I mean, people are going to be driving around this area. They're going to be in this area at those times. Not only that, you got a liquor store here. So late night people, they close at 10 o'clock. You got a Planet Fitness. They're open 22 hours a day. So you got people coming in there all the time. You got the REI, which attracts a certain type of people. So there's a reason why there's all these other businesses on the street. It's because there's just a lot of foot traffic in this area, and there's a constant flow of people morning, day, and night that your business is going to be exposed to. So I like this area even better now, right? Okay, so now what? You've picked the area. You're looking around here. You're going to try to find a spot, if possible, that serves these people. Well, who are they? That's when you go to City Data. If you haven't heard of CityData.com, it is the best place to find just demographic information on your area. And I've zoomed in here on the same area in City Data, and I'm just going to try to go over quickly just some numbers that we look at to sort of get an idea of what the marketplace is. So I've actually got population density pulled up here on the graph, and it's kind of, the darker it is, the more dense it is. And so, not surprising, not too dense here. I knew it was a rural area, but it's still a good spot. But we can look at all these different metrics, like median household income. This is a great one. Now you know how much money your market has if you were to open a store in this area. And look at this. This is about the area where we were looking at, where all the restaurants were. The darker the shading, then the more more money they have basically. And so, you know, you've got areas in here that are making 100,000. This area particularly makes more than 100,000 a year. This area makes more than 100,000. So it's a pretty rich area. Now let's look at this. We knew that females were an attraction for vape stores. Okay, so we're going to go down here to population, and we're going to find out. They're going to give us percentages of the types of people that live in that area. So let's go to population, and let's go to population females. Let's just do white females for right now. All right, so the darker the better. So look, here we have areas there where more than 50% are female. And look, this area right here, more than 50% is female. More than 50% female. So a lot of females in this area. Right? Now let's look at Asian females, which we knew were an interesting target for us. Even more data, even more exact data. So now we have some darker spots here that are telling us that not only are there a lot of women here, but there's a lot of Asian women here, and that's fantastic for us. So this area is even looking even better. Now, how old are they? Because we know that millennials are a primary target market for vape stores, and I remember looking at data here, and there's actually quite a few Gen Xers here. Not a lot of millennials, more Gen Xers in this area. I was looking at the data. So what you have here is female Asian Gen Xers that are making decent money. I mean, that seems to me, based on what we've looked at here, like a pretty good place to start a vape store. So now you've got your idea of how you're gonna, which area you're gonna go after. How do you find out information on what the people are like? This is a really interesting tool that we share with our students at VapeU called YouGov. This collects information on different brands across the country and online and everything. And so it's very interesting. It gives you a lot of information. And what I've done, I pulled up Subway because we knew from Google that there was a Subway in the area. And what we know about Subway is that it's an older population, mostly males, and they're mostly Republicans that like to go to Subway. They watch CBS, ABC News, NBC. For some reason, they like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know why. They like Rachel Ray. They watch CNN. Okay, interesting information. I know there's a Smith's Food and Drug, and there's a Five Guys Burgers and Fries. So I'm gonna pull up Five Guys and see what this YouGov tells us about Five Guys, the types of people that like to go to Five Guys. All right, so I got it pulled up here, and interestingly enough, we got a younger population that going to Five Guys. More again, mostly males and Republicans again. And they're younger. They like Comedy Central. They think they're self-aware. They're procrastinating. That sounds like a Gen Xer to me, right? So this is the kind of information you can use to start helping out your marketing strategy. So if you're going to maybe go do some outreach, go do some grassroots marketing, go do some flyers, go see if you can do a partnership with Five Guys. Hang up a advertisement in their store. These are the types of people you want to attract. So do that for all the brands around your area. Find out as much information as you can and start thinking about how you can tap into the market that they're attracting already with their advertising. And then that way you don't have to compete on their advertising levels. You can bring in their foot traffic without really trying. Real quickly, a great resource that I love to really start researching these things and start developing your strategy is called Open Strategy. So it's Open Strategy, but it's openstrata.gy. So they have a lot of consumer research resources. They've got communications, media planning. They've got a bunch of social media monitoring tools. These are all tools that you can use to help market your business. So I hope that really helps. And I hope that you have success in your vape business because it's a fantastic industry. So thanks for listening. We appreciate it.